Welcome back to Keep Up channel. J.D. Vance's Cotswolds invasion. Jeremy Clarkson and Kaleb Cooper joined the grumbling as countryside crawls with Secret Service and protesters flock to target U.S. Vice President. Jeremy Clarkson has today joined the Cotswolds backlash against holidaying U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. The presenter revealed his new summer neighbor has interrupted the filming of Clarkson's farm as the Secret Service swarms the surrounding countryside and a no-fly zone has been put in place. The vice president's visit to the Cotswolds has already attracted some criticism, with locals complaining about disruption and left-leaning protesters flocking to the area. Clarkson said that the 1-mile no-fly zone around Vance's Cotswolds manor house rental is preventing Amazon Prime drone cameramen to do their job. The no-fly zone has been set up for security reasons while Mr. Vance is in residence in the hamlet of Dean for the rest of August. Clarkson posted a picture on Instagram showing the no-fly zone, including his own farm, Kirtle Hill Farm, also known as Diddley Squat Farm. Clarkson added, "The J.D. Vance no-fly zone. We are the pin. So on the downside, no drone shots today. On the upside, no annoying light aircraft." And Clarkson isn't the only one frustrated by Vance's presence in Chipping Norton, with the presenter's right-hand man Kaleb Cooper complaining that the extra security had derailed him from his own duties. The Daily Mail revealed the close proximity of Mr. Vance's manor house rental to Clarkson's farm last week. The enormous property, Dean Manor, is located in a tiny hamlet of just 12 houses in Oxfordshire, and was picked out by U.S. Secret Service personnel because of its remote secure location behind 15-foot stone walls within immaculately manicured 6-acre gardens. The house, which was built 1702 in the reign of Queen Anne, surrounded by teams of U.S. Secret Service operatives dressed in regulation navy blue sports jackets and khaki chino trousers who are guarding the property around the clock despite Mr. Vance's arrival said to be almost 2 weeks away. The manor house's owner, Pippa Hornby, was also sworn to secrecy on the imminent arrival of her new high-profile tenant. It is believed the rental may cost as much as £8,000 a week. When asked by the Daily Mail about J.D. Vance's rental of her home, she would only say, "Thanks so much, but we have no comment to make." Locals, however, were rather more forthcoming and confirmed the upcoming arrival of Donald Trump's deputy yesterday, while the activity around the manor house itself left little doubt that a very prominent high-profile American political figure was indeed on their way. In the grounds of Dean Manor, American Secret Service personnel in dark glasses, talking into earpieces, were dotted around its 4 corners keeping watch. On the main gateway of the property, leading to a sweeping in and out driveway, 2 suited security guards were checking the security clearance of those coming and going in a stream of blacked-out cars and Mercedes limousine vans. In an adjoining field, an impromptu circular helicopter landing pad had also been mown into the grass. Within the grounds, teams of gardeners had been drafted in to make the lawns and pretty herbaceous borders look immaculate. Dean Manor is famous for its picturesque gardens, viewable by appointment, which are actually open on one last occasion this Thursday for a special tour for 25 people, before the manor will be locked down for Mr. Vance's visit between the middle and the end of August. Beyond Dean Manor's high honey-colored Cotswold stone walls, it is surrounded by woodland with the occasional public footpath and public bridleway running nearby, all of which are expected to be suspended during Mr. Vance's stay later this month. Fittingly for right-wing Republican Vice President Mr. Vance, the manor house has a history of Tory political figures as previous owners. It even has a former Tory Prime Minister living a very short stroll away within the hamlet of Dean. Dean Manor was built in 1702 for local Oxford Tory MP Thomas Roney and is Grade 2 listed. It was until recently owned by Tory peer Peter Selwyn Gummer, Baron Chadlington. Former Tory Prime Minister David Cameron, who is also known as Lord Cameron of Chipping Norton, also lives in the small hamlet of Dean with his wife Samantha, and he has a permanent team of armed Metropolitan Police protection officers at his home there. Clarkson's closeness to J.D. Vance is rather awkward since he recently criticized him very publicly. Dean Manor is about as close a neighboring property to Clarkson's own Cotswolds home, Kirtle Hill Farm, better known as Diddley Squat Farm, can be. Clarkson's house and Dean Manor are a mile apart as the crow flies, separated mainly by Clarkson's own arable fields. One local who did not wish to be named commented said, "Dean Manor is as close as possible to Mr. Clarkson's farmhouse as can be. I'm willing to bet Clarkson can see it out of his bedroom window. All of which might make Clarkson feel a little awkward this summer after he made a particularly caustic attack on the very same J.D. Vance in a recent Sunday Times column of his. In March of this year, probably around the time that the U.S. Vice President and his Secret Service operatives were making plans for his Cotswolds summer break, Clarkson issued a strong response to Mr. Vance following his comments about the British and French armed forces. Vance was recently condemned for describing the UK as some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years amid rising tensions between Europe and the US as to how Ukraine can be supported in their conflict with Russia. The US Vice President was accused of erasing the experience of Britons who served in Iraq and Afghanistan after his latest tirade against America's European allies. Vance told Fox News, "If you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine." I've searched for the right word to describe him and I think it's T***T. He also has no clue about history. Because far more recently than 30 or 40 years ago, as Vance claimed last week, our brave young men were being blown to pieces in some godforsaken desert to support whatever madcap scheme the American president had embarked upon that week. And let's not forget that while they were out there, dying in agony, the UK was still paying the US back for all the weapons we'd bought from them to defeat Hitler in the Second World War. In fact, the last payment for all their help was for £43 million in 2006. And while we are on the subject of the Second World War, let's not forget that what Trump is doing in Ukraine is like Franklin Roosevelt saying to Churchill, "Look, Hitler has taken Poland, so just let him have it." And it's not just Clarkson who has had a run-in with the US Vice President. The former Top Gear presenter turned farmer's right-hand man Kaleb Cooper also had an encounter. In a comment on Instagram, the farmhand revealed that his duties on Diddley Squat Farm were derailed by the Republican politician's visit. It seems Kaleb was forced into a conversation in Chipping Norton Village, leaving the wheat in his trailer exposed to the elements and potentially jeopardizing the harvest. He also slammed Vance for his conspicuous presence in the area, writing on Instagram, "My wheat got wet in the trailer last night as the convo stopped me in the rain in Chippy. I could easily have went on my way and got it in the shed without getting in the way. If he had just drove around in a VW Polo, nobody would know who he was." Source: dailymail.co.uk. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.